from Fight Back Media, the Morning Report. Well, good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. I trust that you are well. This glorious Wednesday morning, it is getting close, isn't it? Getting close. December 14th. Only a few days till Christmas. Only a few days till Santa comes booming down the old chimney, burn his butt on the fire, or one of those logs you left with the embers on it. Sucks down a bit of diabetes and forgets that he's lactose intolerant, and leaves you all the crap you'll be paying for the rest of the year. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everyone, and we hope that you are doing well. It is coming to the end of the into the year also, so we've got some stories to finish up with the end of the year and some things to think about as we move forward. I want to give you some things to think about as we move forward. So anyway, we'll be back with more of the rest of the Morning Report right after these messages. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet, and you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices, and you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or a phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. All right, again, welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is presented on fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Over my shoulder here is, let me get out of the way. There you go. You know who this guy is. That is Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson is the first, it was a neurosurgeon who performed the first successful separation of conjoined twins that were attached at the back of the head. Wow. Conjoined twins, back of their heads were stuck together. And this dude, who people who didn't speak until he was in third grade or so, because they thought he was retarded. His mother, the story he tells about his mom and book reports is funny that his mom made him write a book report on every book he read, and he did it, not knowing that his mom couldn't read. His mom was super genius. He's a genius, but mommy was a super genius. Ran for president. He was a administrator, a top administrator at Johns Hopkins. He ran for president. He served as a cabinet member in a presidential administration, and yeah, seems to be a pretty good example. An example to the success that's possible if you work hard. During COVID, his name was put on a predominantly Black high school in Detroit. Well, guess what? A Detroit school board has voted to remove his name off of their high school. Now, I know that I've already said this to a bunch of people, especially a bunch of people local. I am not a person who is for naming things, school board, schools, school board buildings, governmental buildings after people for all sorts of reasons. I don't like that. I never have. Please don't name a building after me, please, or a chair, or a room, or a bottle of Advil. Just don't name after me, except my kid, and I named my kid after me. I did that myself. Thank you so much. And not even exactly. Anyway, this is from T&D, article written by Kayla Gaskin from the National Desk. Dr. Ben Carson's name will be scrubbed from a Detroit public high school after the school board voted in favor of removal last month. The move came after 80% of the 1,500 people surveyed said they supported the change. Carson says he's not surprised. He says this: cancel culture is alive and well. It's infiltrating political correctness, wokeness. Cancel culture is going to destroy us as a nation if we don't get a grip on it, said Carson. Carson says cancel culture has targeted him, but he's never considered himself a victim. Carson's education started back again in the Detroit public school system. Born into poverty, raised in a single mother household, Carson went from inner city Detroit to Yale University, becoming one of the most influential neurosurgeons in a generation. His former staff from the Department of Housing and Urban Development penned an op-ed criticizing the move by the Detroit public schools. The letter included 55 signatures, including Alex Coffey, who worked as an advisor to Dr. Carson for 4 years. This is what the letter says in part. He has impeccable morals, impeccable character, said Coffey. The students who were at that school, certainly, he is somebody they can look up to and they can try to emulate. He's a great example of our country. So in the wake of the political killings of George Floyd in 2020, the racial reckoning that led many school buildings and roads to be renamed. Robert E. Lee School in Springfield, Virginia, and here in Tampa, Florida, was named after again a prominent African American Democrat congressman, civil rights hero, John Lewis. But righting historical wrongs is not behind the namesake change for Dr. Ben Carson High School. Calls for his change calls for this change center around the time he's working for the Trump administration, showing the heated political landscape the left versus right now plays in a role in the dedication of public schools. Carson's team confirmed they do not have plans to challenge the name change. Why? Challenge it for what? Carson released a statement on Facebook saying that while the move saddens him, he wants to focus on to be on the students. Something that was said by one of the board members is like having, okay, you're sitting down. Having Ben Carson's name on the school was like having Trump's name on the school in blackface. Because this is, they can say. I'm telling you. And I've been telling you this for a long time. These people are out of control. They only serve themselves. And they'll do anything and everything not to really address the problems. I mean, taking Ben Carson's name off of school, that won't make that school one tick better. Taking the name Robert E. Lee off of school doesn't make the school any better. It doesn't make the kids feel any different about it, because the kids barely know what school they go to anyway. Well, I'll go to Carson. You go to Carson? I'll go to Carson, man. Or whatever. I'll go to Lee. It's, it's like a lot of things. It's only a big deal to the adults, and it's only a big deal to these adults for political reasons. That's it. It's not anything. Because again, a lot of these people have been told, a lot of the people who are these constituents have been told who to be angry at. They were told to be angry at Trump. And they were told, and we warned you about this, back in 2015, they were told to be angry at Trump, and they were told to be angry afterwards at anybody who was associated with Trump. That's what they were told. And the crazy part is that it's still freaking going on. Trump hasn't been president in 2 years. The story of Ben Carson, there isn't any way in the world that a normal thinking human being can say that this guy isn't a great role model, for anybody, especially Black inner city children. Sorry, you just can't. You just have to look at the scoreboard. You have to look at his accomplishments. Forget how you feel about his political views. Look at his accomplishments. If you look at his accomplishments, it's impeccable. You can't get around them. Dr. Carson, I know that having that school named after you meant a great deal to you. You've already got it. You're not worried about it. And again, this is one of the reasons why you don't name. Please don't name after me. Whether I'm here right now or whether I'm dead, don't name anything after me. I'm not a believer in that, and this is one of the reasons. Now we've got a point of contention that never had to be there, and this is why they can focus on, instead of focusing on making that school better. So instead of focusing on test scores and curriculum that makes the quality of education better, they're focused on the name of the school, because having the school named after Ben Carson is like having Trump's name on it in blackface. That's what they're addressing. Pull your kids out of public school. I sit here day after day, and I tell you, I can't tell you what to do. But if you can make it work, take your children out of public schools. And I'm not saying because we did a story about an elite private school in Chicago that had their kids playing with dildos and butt plugs. that every private school is a great option either. You're going to have to get involved in your student's education and your kids' education because ultimately it's your responsibility. The best thing to do, the first thing to do is get your kids out of public school. Just get them out. We will not be able to survive another 3 generations of public school kids. We just won't be able to survive it. And if your children want to major in education in college, discourage them. Oh, yeah, no, that sounds terrible, especially for someone who used to work in education. Please just discourage them. Tell them no, because most of the jobs are in public schools. The answer is no. Tell them you won't pay for it. Tell them you won't sign their FAFSA. Tell them you won't participate if they choose education. And that's hard for me to say because I know this sounds so cliche. My best friends are my best friends, people who are dearest to me in the world, outside my family, are teachers. I worked in education here in Hillsborough County for 15 years. Don't have your kids do it. Don't get your children caught up in this mess on either side of the desk. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and Fightback Media TV. We'll be back. So is it okay now, because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's...
yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen...
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president or were you 5?
You see, what I want... See, the next question is... excuse me, Mr. President?
I was told to call on what you call for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Hey, y'all. Again, my name is Willie Lawson of The Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate you being here. Listen, many times I have mentioned on The Morning Report that we are in a culture war. And I think that a lot of people think that we're in some sort of political struggle. We're not. Because politics are downstream from the culture. So whatever's happening in the culture ends up in our politics, so to speak. We are in a cultural war. We warned people years ago that this LGBTQ plus phenomenon wasn't going away. It was only going to grow, and it was only going to get more problematic. We warned you guys. We warned you. But you know what? Like parents, you were more interested in peace than justice. And now you have neither. Whatever you compromise to keep, you will someday lose. Whatever you compromise to keep, you will someday lose. And you were and you compromised your values for peace. I don't know why, we just let gay people get married. What's the problem? Who cares? And it was 15 seconds before there were people who, there are folks, kind of people that you've never heard of in your life wanting to share a dressing room with your 8-year-old daughter because they identified as an 8-year-old girl. They wanted to share locker rooms with your 14-year-old daughter because they identified as a girl. They wanted to share bathrooms with your 9-year-old daughter because they identified as a 9-year-old girl. Seemed like it happened in like 10 seconds. It was longer than that. I'm exaggerating, but we warned you because what we know is, if you haven't gotten this book yet, get this book. This book is called Rules for Radicals. Let me see. Oops. And it says, let me see if I can get this to, and I can't. Dag nabbit. Yeah, we go. A pragmatic primer for realistic radicals by this dude, Saul Alinsky. One of the things he talks about in this book is in the methodologies is never give up any ground. Never get up any ground. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Never stop. So once the door was open, guess what? They kept pushing. And now they've put a stake in the ground because the Supreme Court said, hey, listen, yeah, y'all get married. And what they've learned from Roe is because Roe was never codified in law, because they were, I don't know, they were too busy killing babies. And they didn't think they could get away with it. They decided to codify this Supreme Court justice or this Supreme Court ruling in law. President just signed it. And frankly, at this point, there was nothing we could do to stop it, really. You didn't have control of Congress. You didn't have control of the House of Representatives, and almost no control of what's going on in the Senate. So that bill cannot be overridden. It's signed, and it is the law of the land. It's the law of the land that same-sex couples can marry, and it has to be recognized in every state in the union, and they're never going back. Never. Because we are in a culture war. Now, this next story may not mean much to you, but I want to tell you, we warned you about it. You may remember in October, the makeup store Ulta got a lot of hassle, a lot of backlash after hosting with 2 biological men to discuss, quote, all things girlhood. One of the transgender people on the podcast, Dylan Mulvaney, has garnered a bunch of attention on social media and even interviewed President Joe Biden after posting videos documenting his, quote, days of girlhood, end quote, which often includes him portraying sexist stereotypes of women. Mulvaney's appearance on the podcast is another example of the evil left erasing women and girls. Remember, we were going to say we're going to take the word woke and replace it with evil. That's what we're going to do here. So in June, our friends at Town Hall covered how Calvin Klein ran a Mother's Day advertisement that included a pregnant man. And now The Cambridge Dictionary has updated its definition for woman and men to include transgender people who identify with the gender that does not align with their biological sex. A spokesman from Cambridge Dictionary confirmed the change to the Washington Post. What's today? Yesterday. Apparently, the definitions were expanded in October. This is what they said. They carefully studied the usage patterns of the word woman and concluded that the definition is one of the learners of English should be aware of to support their understanding of how the language is used. Sophie White, a spokesman for Cambridge University Press and Assessment, said in a statement to the Post. Here's part of the statement. In the Cambridge entry for women, the long-time definition for the word, an adult female human being, is still there and remains unchanged, White said, but an additional definition of the word appears below. And this is it. Any adult who lives and identifies as a female, though they may have said to have different sex at birth, it reads. It is exactly the definition that the transgender community wants us to go with. Interesting. Included in the definition are two examples referencing transgender people. One example reads, she was the first trans woman elected to a national office. Another example using the updated definition reads, Mary is a woman who was assigned male at birth. This is exactly the same sort of evil confusion that the enemy wants to sow in the world today. The very same stuff. For the entry of the word man, sentences about gender affirming care are used to illustrate the meaning of the word. Additional updates, this is also from Sophie, additional updates were also made for the entry for man. The two examples listed for the supplemental definition for man include Mark as a trans man, equal man who was said to be a female when they were born, and their doctor encouraged them to live as a man for a while before undergoing surgical transition. The Post noted that the Oxford changed the definition of woman in 2020 to that a woman can be a person, wife, girlfriend, or female lover, and not only a man's lover. And the Merriam-Webster changed the definition of woman to include having a gender identity that is opposite of male. If you have a paper copy of a dictionary, you better hold on to it. If you've got a paper copy of a dictionary that is 10 years old, you're 5 years old, you better hold on to it. And that's your dictionary. And that'll be your dictionary forever. Once they start changing the names and definitions for stuff, game's almost over. Or it becomes a lot harder to win. Fortunately, I'm built for it. My wife and I were talking about something else last night about the difficulties, of this year. This year has been very challenging for us, but I'm built for it. So people who disagree with me about this, yeah, bring it, because I'm built for it. I'm not wrong, and you're only mad at me because you know I'm not wrong. You're only upset with me because you know I'm not wrong. You're only frustrated with me because you know I'm not wrong. You know I'm not wrong. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. Um, but you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those one of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Well, hey, y'all. Let's finish up the Morning Report this morning with a little heart-to-heart. The next 2 years is going to be very difficult. Just going to tell you, it's going to be very difficult. I told you just now, I'm built for it. Willie's not worried about it because I'm built for it. But I need you, and I want you to be built for it too. I want you to understand what you're going to have to push back on. And it's going to be a lot. And again, we all want to just live in a peaceable world. We do. We all just want to live a peaceable existence. We do. That's what most of us want to do. Me too. But in order to save the republic, in order to have an America for our children that's anything like the America that we want for our kids, there's a lot in the culture we're going to have to pull back from. I mentioned today that if you can find a way to pull your children out of public school, do so. And if for some reason you can't do that, then your responsibility just increased tenfold in being involved in their education. being there at every parent-teacher conference, being there at every school board meeting, scheduled to speak, not just sitting quietly in the back saying that you went there. No. Be on the agenda every school board meeting, getting ready to speak about whatever the hell's going on. Yes. Having the principal of your kid's school know you by name and can recognize you when you come in the building. Yes. That's the level of involvement that you're going to need to have to protect your kid from what they are trying to shove into their spirit. They're trying to get your kid to accept everything that you're trying to against everything you're trying to teach them. Everything. The dictionary they read has changed the definition of what a woman is. The dictionary, something that we're supposed to be able to go to and get definitions from and figure stuff out. So what's a so-and-so? I don't know, look it up. But what's a woman? Look it up. Uh-oh. This says in the dictionary, a woman is anybody who thinks they are. Says so right there in the Cambridge Dictionary. Says so right there in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Yes. And this may not seem like a big deal to you. But like I said a minute ago, gay marriage wasn't a big deal to you either. Until, they wanted, grown men sharing a bathroom with your 14-year-old daughter. And I knew that would be a problem. And we told you that would be a problem. We told you years ago that the X-ray machine at the airport was going to be a problem because it could see under your clothes. And it was going to be a problem for somebody who had their 16-year-old daughter go through one. And we don't know where that image is. And what we find out? Yeah, we told you. We warned you. So I'm warning you about this. You're going to have to act like you're built for what's coming. Because, my friends, you're built for what's coming. You are built for it. You just needed to be reminded right now that you are built for what's coming. And you do not have to acquiesce. You do not have to compromise. You don't. In the past, in the past 50 years, the word compromise has been thrown around as if it's some sort of virtuosic thing to do. It is not. It is exactly the opposite. The virtuous thing to do is to hold on to your values. Hold on to your values in the face of pressure, in the face of tribulation, in the face of oppression, to hold on to your values. That's virtuous. To compromise your values is not virtuous. It's cowardice. But my friends, you're built for it. You are built for what's coming. And we here at Fight Back Media want to let you know that you are built for it. And you'll do whatever you can where you are, and we'll do whatever we can from where we are. And you know what? We're going to see you on the other side. So when we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourselves. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now. From Fight Back Media, the Morning Report.